Hello, everybody. This is Dr. William Clark coming to you this morning on Blab and wanted to upload a new video regarding this new book I wrote, this new mini book I wrote called Leader Development in Your Local Church. Yesterday, in our previous session together, we covered the first part of the book. I broke this down into 4 or 5 parts, and yesterday we talked about the basics of leadership. I'm writing a series of mini books so that you, the audience who have interests in various areas of leadership, specifically in a nonprofit and in the church or faith-based world, will have resources available to you that you can rely upon. Now, my strategy for these books is to keep them thin and light and in a tight form factor so that these books are easy, quick reads for you to process through and to readily and quickly apply in your context. So whether you buy an ebook version or a hardback version, you will have something quick to read and really get your arms around. And so I'm happy to offer that to you. You can access this book and several other ebook resources that are the mini book size on my website at williampclark.com. Again, it's williampclark.com. I will tell you, as I shared with the audience yesterday, that you can get your free copy of this particular book, Leader Development in Your Local Church, by reading the description that I provided in the book. And below the description, I provide directions on how to get your free copy. So I dare you to get your free copy. And once you get it, I also dare you to share it with your friends as you will. And so I'm excited to offer that to you. Now, I wanted to talk about the next section of the book. And just a reminder, the reason why I'm doing this is to kind of give everybody some context as to why I wrote what I wrote. It's kind of like the behind the scenes of why the book has the content it has, and to give further thought to you as you kind of hear what I'm saying about the book. And as you read it, you can kind of have my voice in the back of your mind, but you also can juxtapose that to your own way of thinking as you process through the book. So the second section of the book that I'm covering is leader development through coaching. One of the things I left off talking about yesterday was there are multiple systems that one can implement to develop people, and the basics of developing leaders must include a system of development of these leaders. You can't have a non-existent system that does not systematically produce leaders on a consistent basis at a consistent rate. It just can't happen without a system. And so what I've encouraged leaders to do is to think about ways to develop leaders primarily through a system. Now, I only write about one system in this particular book. There are multiple systems that any leader can employ as a means to develop leaders within their organizations. So do not just focus on just this one resource I talk about in this book. Focus on multiple systems. And the other thing I'll tell you before I get into coaching is that you may find as a leader or developer of leaders or a trainer of other leaders that you like multiple systems. And it's okay to like multiple systems. What I encourage you to do is find the things that you do like, take pieces of it from one and pieces from another, and combine it into one system that appeals to you and that helps you develop the leaders in your context the way that matches the culture and the vision of your organization. So it's important to mix and match just so you can have great value that you're offering to the leaders you're developing. So I talk about the coaching system as a means of developing leaders. And one of the first things I talk about is coaching helps emerging leaders work on underdeveloped areas in their leadership. Now, I use the term emerging leaders a lot, and emerging leaders is a general term that talks about people who are on the rise in terms of their leadership. They are ascending to more responsibility. And emerging leaders always have gaps in their leadership and in their skill set. And I talk about the need for coaching to help those emerging leaders fill those gaps, because what you need as a developer of leaders is for those emerging leaders to improve their skill set, their leadership skill set. Without developing those skill sets, there will be holes in their leadership, and you will see major chunks of your organization fall through those holes. If those persons have not developed their communication styles, if they haven't fully developed their strategic thinking styles, if they haven't fully developed their human management styles, if they haven't developed their innovative styles of getting things done, you will start to notice those holes create major gaps in your organization. So what I talk about in the book is that coaching is one of those mechanisms, one of those systems that helps an emerging leader fill those important holes that are critical, particularly in a specific organization. Now, coaching can be used in a general sense and can cover multiple areas and multiple contexts. But as I'm talking to you who's watching this video, I'm talking to you as if you're developing leaders to fit your organization. So as you coach and you provide guidance, you want to provide guidance that's relevant to your organization only. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't think a little bit broader that can allow the leader, the emerging leader, to apply the lessons learned in other contexts, whether it's home or other visions that this person have. But you're developing leaders to fill gaps in your own organization. So you want to be as specific as possible to fill those skill sets and gaps in their leadership that fits the needs of your organization. The next thing I talk about in the book is that coaching is very relevant in parallel, in most cases, to Pathgoal theory of leadership. Pathgoal theory teaches and espouses that leaders help followers along their journey to meet their goals. Leaders help followers along their journey to meet their goals. So if a leader sees that a follower is trying to become a supervisor or a manager or take on new responsibilities, the leader of that follower gives the follower progressive responsibilities over a period of time that helps them progress toward becoming the leader that they desire to become. This is no different when a parent sees that their child wants to do something and the child is sincere about it. The parent who is looking out for the best interest of the child is trying to position their child to systematically learn all the things they need to learn so that they can progress towards their goal. And so coaching is like Pathgoal theory. It's about the path you're taking to reach a specific goal. Under coaching, there are 4 types of coaching that can take place. I'm not going to cover them in detail in this talk with you, but I cover them a little bit in the book, and I encourage you to download the book for free at williampclark.com. Read the description and it'll tell you how to get your free copy. And I just explained the 4 types of coaching, but I'll rattle these off for you. There's directive leadership type coaching. There's supportive coaching. There's participative coaching, and there's achievement oriented coaching. I encourage you to get your free copy so you can just read how each of these work in coaching. They can work simultaneously, or they can work individually. Or as a coach, you may want to apply directive leadership type skill sets with your coach at one session, but then work on participative skill sets at the next session, or be supportive in the next session, or be achievement oriented in the next session. So you can mix match, or you can stick with one, or you can systematically go through all 4. But to get a deeper understanding of the different types of coaching that you can implement, I encourage you to download the book for free. Now, within the church, this book is about leader development in the local church. Within the church, coaching is a realistic system to implement to develop leaders. The reason why I say that, and I'm going to just read these verbatim from the book because I think this kind of hits home. The reason why I say that coaching is relevant in the church is because, one, we have biblical examples of what it looks like to see coaching in the church itself and the outputs that comes from that. Now, when a leader, in most cases, the pastor, decides to develop other leaders, coaching will result in some of the following outcomes: an increase in the number of activities in which emerging leaders take responsibility for. When you're coaching an emerging leader and you're developing their skill sets, you're plugging their holes, you're developing them to meet the needs of the organization, you're aligning their personal goals with the organization, you will see a spike, and I mean a consistent spike that will steady of responsibilities this emerging leader will take on. Now, some of you who have emerged as leaders and are still emerging, you guys know what that means. You've been through that where you had someone take a special interest in you, and all of a sudden, just your interest in leading just spiked, and you just took on responsibilities within your local church. And you never let go, and you were considered the responsible one or one of the responsible ones. And so when you're developing other leaders, coaching allows you to help people along that journey to spike and to increase their level of interest and to take on ongoing responsibility within the church. Number two, when you implement coaching, you will see an increase in ownership of tasks. Now, there are a number of people that take on leadership roles in the church, and they will lead or manage a task because they were asked to. But that does not mean that they own the task itself. To own the task means that you're giving your all. You take it personal, whether the task fails or succeeds. You contribute all the skill sets that you offer. You bring to the table all your knowledge and all your experiences. You own this thing. There's a clear difference from people that own or don't own it. But when you're coaching somebody, you will see a clear increase in ownership of tasks that are assigned to them. Number three, the result of coaching, you will see an increased or renewed interest in being a leader. Now, this is an interesting statement because when I wrote this third bullet, I was thinking about not necessarily people who fell off from leadership roles and then re-engaging. I was actually thinking about people who never wanted a leadership role in the church in the first place. And as you begin to coach people and counsel people and support people and walk alongside people, you will see renewed interest in the number of people, new people who were interested in leading in your church. Because you are playing the role of coach and you are providing a global perspective of what's needed in the church, and it's appealing to the needs and interests of people, you will see just new people wanting to change their mind and step up and do things in the church. That's exciting. And I think that's something that we all desire as pastors and leaders in our churches. The fourth result of coaching is people will start to desire more and more leader development. They will desire more of your time. They will desire more of your wisdom. They will desire more of your experiences. And that's exciting too, because what that indicates is they want to continuously educate themselves in methods and strategies that will strengthen their leadership. And as a leader and as a developer of leaders, that's what you want. You want people who want to be developed as leaders. Now, there are a few more items I want to share with you from this section of leader development through coaching. Good coaches do not attempt to be the person that they're coaching. I just want that to sit there for a quick moment. Good coaches do not attempt to become the person that they're coaching. You ever heard the term parents try to vicariously live through their children? And what that generally means is because a parent could not do a certain activity or have a certain experience as a kid, they try to relive that through their own children, which kind of creates a puppet and puppet master experience. This is the same thing. A good coach does not attempt to become the person that they're coaching. Good leaders do not try to live or try to lead through other people. They don't try to manipulate other people. They don't try to control other people. A good coach seeks to help a young emerging leader discover their own leadership styles and skill sets and hopes to help them maximize their own performance in the context of the church, for the glory of God, for the benefit of the congregation. That's it. There should be no other reason why people should be coaching others in church. Good coaches do not attempt to become the person they are coaching. The last thing I'll share with you, and I'm going to read this verbatimly, because I think this statement within the book speaks for itself without me giving commentary. As pastors or developer of leaders grapple with the development of new leaders, Coaching serves as a reminder that, number one, when someone thinks they know something, they do not know anything. And number two, we should not feel wise based on our personal filters. Coaching serves as a reminder that, number one, when someone thinks they know something, they don't know anything. And number two, they should not feel wise based on their personal filters. When you're coaching people, you're constantly reminded how much you don't know. I mean, you are sharing a lot of wisdom and knowledge and experience with the person you're coaching, but you're constantly being reminded that, man, as I develop this new person or develop this emerging leader, there's so much I have to continuously research so I can help this person become a better version of them. Most likely, the people you're coaching may be different from you. They may have different experiences, different contexts, different history. And because they're different, because they're not the same person, you can't give them everything that you've been through because it might not be relevant. So as a result, you're constantly researching and figuring out ways to help that person. And you start to educate yourself in the process, which brings us to the point that you may not know everything. It's the truth. Secondly, you also realize that you may not be wise as you think you are, right? Because sometimes we create wisdom, or we think we have the wisdom that can fulfill the needs of others, but that's based on personal filters that we've created for ourselves. Some of our leadership practices and some of our leadership principles are based upon filters that we've created over time through our experiences. And the reality is, as we develop new people, as we develop emerging leaders in our churches, our filters from our culture, from our generation, from our past may not be the appropriate filters that will help emerging leaders grow into the leaders that we know that they can become. So as a result, we have to remove those filters. And I provide scriptures there to help you through that. That's 1 Corinthians 8:2 and Proverbs 3:7. So I hope that this brief talk was helpful. We just covered leader development through coaching. Again, you can get your free copy of Leader Development in your local church by going to williampclark.com. That's williampclark.com. Click on the icon there, read the description, and below the description, I provide you with a way to get this free resource. You can get it for free. And if you want to pay for it, fine. But I provide a way for you to get it for free. I plan to cover the other sections of this book so that you can understand what I was thinking. And I look forward to having this conversation with you. Thank you for being on this blab. This will be on YouTube and on social media. And I look forward to our next session together. Thanks, everybody.